Hi everyone, in this lecture we're going to look at how we can align text in Microsoft Excel. Now the part of the ribbon that we will be looking at is the alignment section here, and this is under the home part of the ribbon in Microsoft Excel. Okay, let's get started. Well, text in Microsoft Excel can be aligned horizontally or vertically or both. We can also change the orientation of text. So for example, we can make it going diagonally upwards to the right. Text can also be wrapped around. Now for those of you who don't know what that term means, just keep watching and by the end of this lecture you will know what that term means. Cells in Microsoft Excel can also be merged, in other words combined, to make one bigger cell to make it easier to read text. Also, just for the purposes of this lecture, when we refer to text, we're also including numbers as well. Okay, aligning text. Now in Microsoft Excel, there are three ways to align text both horizontally and vertically. So just to look at this table here, in terms of horizontally aligning the text, we can align it to the top of the cell, the middle of the cell, or the bottom of the cell. In terms of vertically, we can align the text to the left-hand side of the cell, to the center of the cell, or to the right-hand side of the cell. Now, to demonstrate this, I've got an example here. So, we've got this sentence, hi, it is a nice day today. Right, so we're going to cycle through the different types of options you've got for align the text, and you can see the result. Now, just quickly, if we refer to this alignment bit here, in terms of quickly aligning text, you can use these icons here. So this one aligns the text to the top. This one will middle align it. This one will bottom align it. This one will align the text to the right. This one will align the text to the center. And this one will align the text to the left. So let's see how this works. Okay, so currently you can tell from these two icons being pressed down that the text is aligned to the top in terms of its horizontal position, and the text is aligned to the left in terms of its vertical position. So I'm going to change the horizontal alignment to the middle. There. Do you see that? The text has gone down slightly and it's at the middle of the cell. Now I'm going to change it to bottom alignment. There. The text has gone right to the bottom of the cell. Okay, so I'm just going to put it back to the top alignment. Now we're going to look at vertically how we can adjust the text. Okay, so right now it's on left-hand side alignment. I'm going to click the center alignment. Can you see that? The text has moved slightly towards the center. So vertically, it's aligned itself in the center. Now, if I click align to the right, you can see the text is aligned to the right. Now, a thing to note here, folks, is that the text works both horizontally and vertically at the same time. So in this case, we've got our text aligned at the top horizontally, and then the text has been aligned to the right vertically. So it ends up here. Now what you often do in Microsoft Excel is that you will end up playing with this alignment to suit your report best. Now a lot of people, for example, when they're doing titles or headers in Microsoft Excel reports, they like the text to be centered both horizontally and vertically. Now to do that, you simply just click here and click here. There. Can you see that? The text is centered perfectly in the middle. Now one thing to note, folks, is that no matter how much text you type, Excel will always align it automatically and properly based on the options you're choosing, horizontally and vertically, for that text. So for example, if I delete all this text and just leave the word hi in, you can see that it's still perfectly aligned according to the options we chose earlier on. So if I then change this alignment to the left, you can see it's still in the middle, because remember, horizontally we're still in the middle, but vertically it's gone to the left. So that's how you align text in Microsoft Excel. Now you can also achieve the same effect by using the right-click mouse button and going to the Format Cells menu. And under the alignment tab, you've got text alignment, where you've got horizontal and vertical. Changing the orientation of text. Now, Microsoft Excel also enables you to change the direction of your text. So for example, you can make it going up from the bottom left-hand corner to the top right-hand corner. You can also make it go straight down vertically. So just to give you an example, I've got the words hello world, and over here I've got the same words hello world, but I've changed the orientation to make it go diagonally up. Then here I've got the same word hello world, but I've changed the orientation to make it go vertically all the way down. Now, to change the orientation of text in Microsoft Excel, you can use this icon here, where you can angle it counterclockwise, clockwise, make it vertical, rotate the text up and down, or you can also use the Format Cells Alignment tab. Now, I actually think this is better in this instance than the actual icon, because you can actually control it a bit more accurately. So, just to give you an example, I'm going to type a sentence. Okay, so we've got our sentence, hello, it is a great day today. And to change the orientation, we simply right-click, go to Format Cells, head on over to this bit here. Now we can type in our degrees, which will then change the direction of the text. However, you can also just simply use this, where you left-click and hold the mouse button down, and just drag it up and down. And as you can see, the degrees is changing correspondingly. So in this case, if I wanted 45 degrees, I'd take it to that, press OK, and as you can see, the orientation has changed. Similarly, if I wanted to make it vertical, for example, I'd click here, which basically then gets highlighted. Then you press OK, and there. The text is now vertical. Okay, so I'm just going to undo that action. So that's how you change the orientation of text. Now, this can be semi-useful in certain situations. For example, where you're making some fancy charts that aren't actually serious reports. So, for example, light-hearted reports, where you want to change the orientation of the text to make it look a bit more attractive. I mean, generally speaking, these sorts of things, they're not actually adding a huge amount of value to a serious report. For example, dealing with performance indicators. The idea is when you make these reports, you want text to be readable, and generally it's just standard like that, left to right, going in the horizontal direction. Anytime you change the orientation of the text, it's often a bit more difficult to read. For example, we've got this hello world here. Now, if you had that as supplementary text to a chart, that would look a bit awkward, for example. So the rule of thumb here is basically, unless you really need to, don't change the orientation of the text. I'm showing it to you guys here in this lecture just because it's good to know that this facility exists. But like with everything in Microsoft Excel, you only want to use the tool if your task actually requires you to do so, and if it actually adds value to the work that you're doing. Wrapping text in Excel cells. Now, wrapping text is one of the most common tasks in Microsoft Excel. You can wrap text in a cell or a group of cells, which we call merge cells. Text can be numbers too, so basically anything typed. Okay, so I'm just going to illustrate how we can do wrap text. Now, wrap text basically just means that the text is contained within your cell, whether that's just an individual cell or a group of cells, which together would be one merged cell. So I've got this example here. Hi, comma, today it is going to rain then snow. Now, what do you notice about this? Well, you can see that the text has gone out of this cell and has just stretched to these two cells here. If I click here, this would illustrate it more. As you can see, after this letter G, the rest of the text is spilt over into the other cells. Now, there's nothing wrong with that on its own. But if I type something in this cell, you can see the problem. Because we've got text now in this cell, it's actually cut off this sentence here. So what can we do to fix this problem? Well, we could widen the column. So now our sentence is showing, as well as the bit of text we typed here. However, the one problem with widening a column is that everything else in that column widens as well. And you may not want that. So what's an alternative? Well, we can merge some of the cells to make sure that our sentence here fits. So I'm going to take this column just back to its original width. Okay, so what can we do to solve this problem? Well, we can wrap the text. Now, wrapping text is quite easy. All you have to do is select your cell, right-click, go to Format Cells. Under the Alignment tab, go to Wrap Text. Click OK. There. Do you see that? Now, what we typed is actually showing in this cell. So the Wrap Text option basically makes sure that all our text is displayed in the selected cell. Okay, so what's wrong in this now? We've got our text. Well, it does look a bit strange because it just looks like it's squashed a bit. So again, we could widen the column to get what we want. But another option I want to show you guys is that we can actually merge cells. Now, merge cells basically mean that you take another cell or another selection of cells and you combine them all together and you basically treat it as one cell. And we call that a merge cell. Okay, so just to show you what it looks like, if I click here and then select these two cells below, if I right click, go to Format Cells and click Merge Cells, press OK. There. You can see that? It's actually widened a bit and it looks a bit more readable now. Now if we take the width of column D back, you can see that it actually looks like what we had before we merged the cells. So what's the next step? Well, what we could do is, instead of having these two cells below as merged, we could also merge maybe these two cells and then move our text hello to somewhere else. So if I clicked here, delete that, and I select our merge cell and then select the three cells next to it, if I right click, go to Format Cells, now you might see these squares here, and what this basically means is that the option has already been selected, but because we're expanding our merge cell to another merge cell, we just have to click it again. There. And you can do the same for the wrap text as well. Press OK. There. Do you see that? Now that looks much more readable than what we had before. Okay, so with merge cells, a couple of things. One of them is to make things stand out, you can often highlight the borders of the cell. So that gives it a bit more of a standout feel. Also, copy and paste operations operate the same way as you would do with normal cells. So if I click here, right click, go to copy, then go to this space here and go paste, you can see that this group of cells has now been merged and has repeated our text because we pasted it. Now, most situations, wrap text on its own will do fine. However, in some instances where you do want merge cells, we've covered how to do that, and it's down to the user to decide which type of method is better. Okay, so we've covered how to wrap text and how to merge cells and how to combine it into one operation. Now, most people stick with wrap text on its own and use merge cells for headers, for example. So if you got a report and you want a long header and you don't want to widen your column and you just want to keep it within one line, then you could merge the cell going all the way across. Okay, so that concludes this lecture. We have covered how to align text, how to change the direction of text, and how to wrap text and merge cells. Thank you for listening and watching. If there are any questions or queries, please feel free to reach out.